Hello. Hope you're all doing well today. Give me a quick second here. Okay. Sorry, just had to drink some water. I have kind of a, I don't know what to call it. I mean, I guess it's a headache, but it's like only in my like the top part where like your head indents kind of on your forehead sinus area. Anyway, I'm gonna try to do my best to ignore it and to just enjoy the water that I have and the fact that I keep shivering today. But I don't have a fever, so I don't know what's wrong with me. Can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Ah, Mr. Naruto! Good morning, Professor Harebrine. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. For anything like it, it's crushing me. I feel it every time I'm here. That gravity. Well, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Ah, yes. Well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruto? I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life. To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry, but really, justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruto. You appear to have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. That was very mean, Bruno, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It took me at least an hour to wake him up. Is it? Are you? Sherlock Sholmes? Indeed, sir. I am he, Sherlock Sholmes. I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Yes, Rance magazine's on sale in Germany too. This month's installment was sublime. Your deduction in the Adventure of Silver Blaze was wonderful. Ah, yes, a memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, I seem to recall. No, that was the Speckled Band. Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh. I have urgent business at Madame Two-Spose. You mean your waxwork job? No. The waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? The week's wages depends on it. So it's the safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then, I understand. Of course, with my skill of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description. Oh, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley. Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say. Oh, yes, quite, definitely, absolutely, I totally understand. Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Harebrine. Oh, thank you. Before I depart, Mr. Naruto, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation, such as was attempted by Professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes it was. I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, you know, and I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. So, he's completely barking up the wrong tree. But how could an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that'll be at the heart of the trial, that I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now, I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley. Oh good, Iris is staying with me. Well, it looks like you're on your own today, Runo. But chin up, you can do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? No, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something I need to do. I see. It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. That sounds ominous. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to begin in session. Make your way to the courtroom at once. I don't know what the heck kind of weird cadence that was. We're on our way. An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Ryunosuke. That's the key to this case. Sorry, I'm gonna primarily blame this headache and like these shivers and things on the milk I had this morning. It's not bad, it didn't go bad or anything like that. It's just that the store didn't have like the regular milk that I buy, so I bought the only thing they had available to me, which is like this weird like lactose free milk, and like it tastes like milk except you can tell it's missing something, and it's really odd. And ever since I had it this morning, I haven't been feeling particularly great. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. I now call upon the counsel for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. 6 months out of practice, and what's more, without Sasato-san today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odie Osmond. Mr. Osmond was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Von Zieks. But the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. These powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on the 21st of October, Mr. Osmond met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Osmond's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? I am most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. Oh good, we're finally getting different people. To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh. Oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. She's pretty. Look at that face. That's a pretty face. Oh, look at that mustache though. Science experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances. Any spurious scholar that defiles the reputation of science deserves to hang. We have to listen to what's on both sides of the fence and settle on one. That's it, isn't it? Literally a sleep constable. Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. That's the police killer Ultimo lookalike again. He's exhausted as ever, it seems. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, the incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events. It is such the eyes of all London. No, the whole world will be on this trial. It is a duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. Sorry, I had to yawn mid-sentence there. Oh, your opening statement, please, Lord 16. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord! It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking. Ha! The whole idea is absurd. Hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field? I am. My word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. So, this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible. What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert that the accused's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What rot? Order! Order! The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Osmond's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But... This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Interesting way to show his faith in his friend. Thank you, Lord 16. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Gladly, my lord. Bailiff, show the first witnesses to the stand. Witnesses, huh? Is it gonna be Lestrade? Oh no, it's okay. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question, and in charge of the full investigation. Albert Harebrain, scientist. You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct? Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition. What you demonstrated was incredible, alright. An incredible explosion. But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have done. Yes, there was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success. Well, that much is undeniable. As shown this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. That's right, my lord. Seems the victim rammed straight into it. What's with the bullet wound in his chest? I see. Very well. Submit the photograph as evidence. Well, that's the courtroom said. The victim of the incident was Mr. Odie Osmond. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being. He was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct? Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right. That must be it. My splendid machine. My poor splendid machine. You saw it yesterday, didn't you? Can't even examine the wreckage thanks to that special dispensation for scientific equipment act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? That being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be demonstrated whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simply, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness? Oh, sorry, me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir. It was murder. Plain and simple. Anyone could state that with complete certainty. What? How can he possibly think that? Thank you, Inspector. We had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been the front for murder. Excuse me. The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck. I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he had clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere. This fella's the only one who could have done it. Extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that. And you could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. No. That couldn't be further from the truth. I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself inside something called the bird cage, ready to be beamed instantly to the second level of the crystal tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, from where it subsequently fell, crushing through the glass of the Crystal Tower's large round window. Sorry. My word. One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then. Huh. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident. A terrible accident. Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. That was the damn person, you know? Saw the whole ludicrous performance. And the only other person on the stage with Mr. Asman was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist. Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him. Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well. Counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. Excuse me. Saving time. Okay, before I start digging in here, I want to check out some of this stuff, you know. He doesn't look like he's in pain, honestly. I'm thinking that this is going to end up being, you know, like one of these things is a wax doll. Probably this body. He's probably faking his own death. Courtney Scythe. Time of death, the 21st of October, around 2:20 p.m. Hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observations: a broken vertebra, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. The scorch marks. Wait, this is a fucking crossbow. Mysterious implement my ass. Oh, there's some sort of lever here. What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing too. It's a fucking crossbow. Well then. I don't suppose there's anything else. No? Alright, well, I mean, this is found on the scene of the crime. Piece of green cloth. Stab into the chest. No, that's probably a bolt. Huh. Okay.
Hold it!
Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly. Which highlights something else about this whole rum business. What's that? The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. After the explosion, the cave with the fellow inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere mid-air. Although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did naturally occur. Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster? Hey, I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake.
Hold it!
So the angle of projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally? Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out. Only, you got it wrong, didn't you? Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I took into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Osmond was wearing at the time, I suppose. Ah. Crackly comments! The answer should have been 3! So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third.
Hold it!
Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense? Well, I think I had to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it? 2 right. Obviously, at first, we thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well. But you're saying that's not the case. You'll get your answer once I finish my fish and chips if you don't keep butting in every few seconds. But we all know there's a bottomless bag. The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that as the cause of death. Right. That's what we all thought. But it was herring, wasn't it? There was a lesion in his chest where he cleared and stabbed by somebody shot right in the heart.
Hold it!
The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense. Sarcastic and insincere. Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object? Among the accused's tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This. Oh, yes. That appeared to be some kind of screwdriver, wouldn't it, Counsel? Ah! There he is! My trusted little companion, Andrew. Andrew. Of course. Ah, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. Look at that. That's a good face he's making right there. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is crosshead. Well, it appears that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank. That isn't. It's blood. Beyond all reasonable doubt. No. Well, that's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound. What? Order! Order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence. So, one of Professor Habern's tools is the murder weapon. Great. Alright, well, I mean, this feels like the place where we probably present the crossbow to say no, wrong, but this is actually blood. This is blood. Mr. Osmond's, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. I can examine the bottom for some reason. I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine. Which could be important for Mason, so I should definitely make a note of it. What grounds do you have for saying that? You really need to ask. There are only 2 people on the public experimentation stage from the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odie Osmond, and the accused, Professor Hardring. And we know for certain that before the experiment the victim was alive. That's right, I saw with my own eyes. Furthermore, following the explosion and kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly have done it. Oh, you're probably about to perjure yourself or whatever it is, right? Professor Hardring, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Professor! Sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body. And the witness stand is the best place for that. It seemed as though you might have something else to say about Inspector Gregson's lost mark. Yes! Yes, that's right, of course! He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh? I don't know, but there's no way that I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Osmond, as you say. Eh? Explain, please, Professor. Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals, with blood running continuously through their veins. No, I'd heard. Then surely you see, if I'd plunged something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath, or a blood swimming pool. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. You see, not one. True, I didn't say anything like that. Oh, damn, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Holy shit, pursuing the witness didn't get him, like, thrown into jail for once? How is it gonna get fucked up? Ah, here we go. Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friend's adducing. Here's to you, Albert. Oh, you're too kind, Baroque, but I'm really not on patch, are you? What? I'm really not patching? No, you're not. Hold on, sorry, this is some, like, this is some English right here. Hold on. Adducing. It's a gerund. Cite as evidence. Okay. He savored a drop from his hallowed friend to accompany his friend's, you know, deductions, basically. Or his citations. Not a... Hold on. Not a patch on you. What? He no longer looks so handsome. He wasn't a patch on Peter. If you say that someone or something is not a patch on another person or thing, you mean they're not as good as that person or thing. Okay, so you know, he was just saying, like, you know, I'm not nearly as good as you. Right? Like, he's like, he or she was like, oh shucks. This is like, oh shucks in British. No, you're not. No? You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have. A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir. Where are they going with this? Very well. You will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. Oh, well, that isn't true. We know that we saw it marked in the grill. Can I just press it? Hold it! Or do I need to present the actual Andrew to that? How do you think that, Inspector? Well, any wound, it's only when you pull the weapon out that profuse bleeding occurs. Or it's still lodged in the body. Acts as a stop of sorts, for want of a better word. I see. You don't need a medical degree to be aware of this fact. It's common knowledge for any investigator. Ugh. Where's the sort of something you need her? If you ask me, this bloke masked what he was doing from his view with his body before stabbing Ozma in the chest. Not only beamed the victim off the stage with this fancy device. Screwdriver was still where he planted it. I would never do such a thing, not to my precious tools. I would never use them for such dirty work. I only use tools for their intended purpose. That's common knowledge for any scientist. The fact remains, the lack of blood at the scene can easily be explained, as the prosecution has demonstrated. So that's all the testimony I have to work with. I had no idea the victim had been stabbed. That changes everything. Did Von Zieks keep that to himself until now on purpose, to gain the advantage? Yeah, well, I suppose all I can do is press these witnesses for as much new information as possible. Okay, let's contradict this here.
Objection!
You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is that the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yes, but about this screwdriver. The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage. What? It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, now you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. Well, I just let him look, nothing more. I was very clear he wasn't to touch a thing. Yes, that's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? What are you getting at? If this tool had been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. Oh. That's right. It should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Osman. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Okay, this is looking good so far for us. How do you explain this, Inspector? I don't. It looks as though everything that the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously that should have been beamed to the destination as well. You. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Von Zieks is stunned. Oh, no, harebrained, no. Do you have something to say, witness? Yes, I knew it. It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry. About what? Without delving into the details, there's no inconsistency. What? Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Osman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved, and remain on the stage is consistent with my calculations. What? It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation? Just when I'd found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists. Very well. The defendant will testify again. Provide us with the explanation, scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold. In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. But you're not supposed to. Wait, one moment, please. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states the kinesis cannot transport metal, though, hence the metal would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't inconsistency at all. Mr. Hosman was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. Well, you're not doing a very good job of it, are you? Also, wouldn't... Hold on, it wouldn't do metal? Like this metal? There's metal right here. And right here. He's got wooden suspenders, though. But that's metal. He's got glasses. Ooh. The thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not an inconsistency. And therefore, Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer. My great hypothesis holds, you see. We admit the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason. I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Harebrain. Yes? Whose side are you on here? I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist after all. Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo. Do. Okay, I think I feel like the glasses are gonna help us with this. Because, I mean, that's probably metal, right? It might be aluminum or something, but it's gotta be metal. Hold it! And yet your retort to my argument wasn't lacking in confidence in any way. No scientist can find the truth without first finding self-belief. Those are the words of a certain scientist I hold in the very highest esteem. But you realize that disproving my argument puts you in a very precarious position, don't you? No scientist should strive to protect himself more than he strives to protect the truth. More words of the same great scientist, you know. Words that are causing me a lot of trouble. Who is this scientist? I'm afraid I couldn't tell you, Mr. Naruhodo. But as soon as I remember the magnificent genius's name, you'll be the first to know. It might be worth keeping the names of your idols to mind. Always in your breath, my learned friend. This scatterbrain even forgets my name at times. So, Lord Hornsix really did have a friend once. But I didn't notice hell freezing over it. Oh, man. Poor guy. Hold it! Your hypothesis states it. So this isn't proven then? No, of course not. It's merely a hypothesis, but a good one, based upon thousands of calculations. But it is widely known that metals can't be decomposed by electrolysis? Yes, of course, so I am right. My hypothesis is clearly correct. What is it about incriminating himself that makes this man so happy? It's the whole reason the birdcage is made of wood, you see. Sorry, the birdcage? Yes, that's what I call the Sea Obtusa cage in which Mr. Osmond was placed with the kinesis. Ah, the jail cell in which the victim was detained. It does indeed seem to be made of a timber of some sort. I'll thank you not to refer to it as an instrument of incarceration, my lord. In short, any weapon lodged in the victim when he was beamed away by instantaneous kinesis would have been left behind on the stage if it was made of metal, correct? Yes, that's it! Yes! It all fits perfectly with this mathematical model. But the ultimate conclusion, then, is that the defendant alone had the opportunity to inflict... Oh, sorry, wrong voice. Is that the defendant alone had the opportunity to inflict this fatal injury on the victim, is it not? Ah! Oh, indeed, sir. Someone beat me out of this nightmare. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Howard isn't inconsistency at all. Hold it! You seem to be pleased by that. Yes, I don't think my hypothesis is wholly true. But I sense some sarcasm, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you not pleased? No. I knew it. At the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for Mr. Osmond losing his life. The advancements of science is no excuse, I know that. No, you're quite right. Tell the court, did you have a close relationship with Mr. Osmond? Oh, no, not really. I mean, I'd only met him 2 or 3 times. And we only ever discussed my hypothesis in the project, and the research grant, of course. Mr. Osmond was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Hold it! How did you come to know Mr. Osmond in the first place? A year ago now, a small provincial science journal published a little paper about my work. That's a scientific journal? Good gracious, I should need new spectacles. I might have had an extraordinary hypothesis and great promise, but at the time I had no money. I had to eat tiny little meals at a tiny little cafe and drink watered-down water out of a tiny glass. But Mr. Osmond read the paper and came to visit me in my tiny little laboratory. And offered you money to help fund your work. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I handled the theoretical side of things, and Mr. Osmond provided me with an engineer for the practical. And the 3 of us produced that fantastic machine together. The machine that you brought to the Great Exhibition to demonstrate. We had applied to the government for some sort of inspection to be allowed to exhibit, I think. I don't understand all the sides of things. Mr. Osmond took care of it all. He was a wonderful man. Really, I owe him everything. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. Hold it! When you say that you built the machine together, does that mean you were involved in its construction? Yes. Well, not exactly. I'm not good with the practical side of machines myself, so the physical construction was done by an engineer. Little remains of your creation now, though, following the explosion. Repair will no doubt be impossible. Yes, I realize that. But still, if someone were to gather all the broken parts, they could discover the secret of my hypothesis. But Mr. Osmond and I toiled over that machine for so long, we put our hearts and souls into it. I had to protect our work. So what's left of the machine must be kept safe. That's only fair, because what happened was an accident. That's the extent of the testimony, then. Thank goodness for that. I don't want him doing any more damage. He's already basically proven they could have been the culprit. But it seems as though all he really cares about is defending his hypothesis. Still, I wonder, what if his hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed? Okay. Alright, I'm gonna save. And then try to present the dudes like glasses. I think I got it. Professor Harebrine, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct. In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Osmond is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. Metal? No, metal can't that... That's not... metal? No! Metal! No! We've already established the proposed murder weapon. The screwdriver was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should also have predicted that the metal-rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place.
Oh, my hypothesis! My hypothesis!
Professor Harebrine, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed.
Oh!
Order! 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 Counsel, what is the implication of this?
If, on the day in question, the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. But my hypothesis was sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work.
If I could say something here, in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, juror number 4, go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science.
What? Wait, Great Scott, are you suggesting my science is suspect?
It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I say the records of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined.
No, never. That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis. It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
What the devil was that blasted act all about, eh? Who made up such a daft rule?
I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? I don't know, actually. What am I objecting to exactly? Just that his experiment didn't work? I'll wait and see. Maybe I should watch and wait for the time being.
My feeling is that the machine requires a thorough examination.
What about the special dispensation that's been mentioned? Oh gosh, this is all too much.
If it's determined the machine itself was the murder weapon, I think you'll find that act won't apply. Of course it was the murder weapon. It was yet plain as day. So we're all in agreement, are we? The machine should be stripped.
If I don't do something, Professor Harebrine has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so...
Even so what?
Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money. If the government was fool enough to have deemed the man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed.
Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? £10? Oh, she's so stupid. Someone pat her silly little peacock head.
What ought a man shoot out, madame? £500 a year.
Wow, you could live answer that much for years.
Besides, no increase in bogus public demonstration in the field of science, right? Plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you.
No, I haven't deceived anyone, least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound. The science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection! No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantaneously to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success.
Barrack.
And therefore, the only person who possibly could have committed this murder is the accused. Well, Brooke.
Where is this heading? No idea.
My lord, if I may.
Yes, Lord Von Zeeks.
The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? What would be the nature of their involvement? They were spectators of the demonstration at the exhibition, who are occupying special seats.
Eyewitnesses.
Very well. The court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. The prosecution's stance is clear. This experiment was no pastiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage, before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend.
Oh, yes.
It's time for you to make your own stance clear.
There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me?
We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes.
Excuse me. To be continued. Alright then. Well. Very well then. To be continued it is. I don't know if my, like, near constant yawning here is any indication, but, I think I'm gonna call it a stream here. I know it's only been an hour, but I keep yawning. I have a headache. Keep waking up early. Work is really super busy. So I'm gonna call it here for now and kind of turn in instead and hope that tomorrow is a better day. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday, and what do I have planned for tomorrow for you all? I think I have something nice actually. Specifically, we're done with Zelda, so no Zelda this time. We could return to Call of Cthulhu for a bit of a different bit of things going on beyond the beyond the everything, and that could be fun. If I don't return to Call of Cthulhu, then I am likely going to start an interesting little game I picked up in the Steam sale for you all. Alternatively, and possibly more likely, I might purchase a new game tomorrow that comes out tomorrow and play that, because I played the prequel to it and quite enjoyed it. So we'll see. It'll be one of the three, and I'll catch you. So have a good one, everyone. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whatever time it is where you are, and I'll see you.